Hello everyone. Today we shall discuss about a new concept, that is arrays in C. So let us begin with what is an array. Before that, we need to understand, and we already know that how actually the values are stored in the program. To store the values in the program, we make use of variable. But sometimes the variables are not always convenient to store the values. For example, let us take a problem. Suppose that you want to write a program to find out the summation of two numbers. Then how many variables you need to declare in the program? Actually, three variables are required. Two variables are basically used to store the two numbers, and one more variable is required to store the summation. Hence, to write a program to find the summation of two numbers, actually three variables you need to declare. Suppose that you want to find out summation of 1000 numbers. Then, is it feasible to create 1000 variables in the program? It is possible to create, but it is not feasible. It is not practical. It is very difficult to manage 1000 variables in a program. Hence, variables are not convenient in this particular case. So that is why we need to make use of arrays. In such cases, we need to make use of the concept of arrays. Let us see how to define an array. An array is basically a collection of elements of the same data type. Also, it can be defined in this way. An array is a homogeneous set of elements. An array can be defined as homogeneous set of elements, or an collection of the elements of the same data type. So that is why we can define the array. So within array, the elements are stored sequentially one after another in the memory. The elements should be stored one after another sequentially in the memory. Array is basically called as a derived data type. We know that only there are four built-in data types like int, float, char, double. Array is not a data type. It is basically a newly created data type, that is called as derived data type. Actually, an array allows us to use a single variable to store the number of values with the same data type. So there will be only one variable we are going to use here. Under that single variable, we can store any number of values of the same data type. So that is the benefit of array we will be having. Each value in an array will be referenced by a single name, which is called as name of the array. So name of the array can be any valid identifier. So we already learned what are the different rules we need to follow while choosing an identifier. So array name is basically any valid identifier we can use here. And a subscript, that is also called as index, which indicates the position of the value in the array. So this is very important that we need to understand here. So that is called as array index or subscript. It is indicating position of an element within the array. So the index or subscript is a positive integer number which is enclosed in a pair of square brackets called array index, and the array index will start from 0. Remember, always array index will be starting from 0. The individual values in an array are called as elements of the array. The values which are stored in the array, we call them as elements of the array. Now let us take one example. Let us understand how arrays can be represented for easy understanding. Suppose that in an array of numbers called num. Num is basically name of the array. We can refer to the first num value, comma the second num value, and so on. In mathematics, we can identify these values as num0, num1, num2, num3, and so on up to num n. In the components of 5-element array num, suppose that you want to have an array with the name num. So So that is having how many elements? 5 elements. Then they can be labeled like this: num of 0, num of 1, num of 2, num of 3, and num of 4. If you look at this particular notation, so it begins with array name. Array name is taken as num here, and within a pair of square bracket we take the integer value, that is nothing but array index. It is called as array index or array subscript. So this array index always starts at 0. So the first element of the array num is indicated as num of 0. So we call it as num of 0. It is having index 0. So second element of the array will be stored at index 1. So it is indicated as num of 1. So 1 is taken within the square bracket. So similarly, third element of the array is stored at array location num of 2. The fourth element will be stored at num of 3. So similarly, the last element of this particular array num will be stored at num of 4. So it can be shown in this particular figure here. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are nothing but array indexes. These are called as array indexes. Array index starts from 0. Last index is 4. So this is basically indicating an array num with 5 elements. So size of the array we have taken as 5. So it means in this particular array we can store maximum 5 elements. But the index value will be starting from 0 and the last index is 4. This is basically the array size minus 1. In this particular example, the array size is 5 and the last index will be array size minus 1, that is 5 minus 1, it will be 4. And let us see what are the values stored here at index 0. So that is called as num of 0. The value stored here is 3. It means the num of 0 is holding a value 3. So similarly, num of 1 at index 1, the second element of the array is indicated as num of 1. So that is holding value 50. And third element of the array is indicated as num of 2. It is having index of 2. The value stored here is minus 2. So 2 is the index, minus 2 is the value stored at num of 2. It is holding the value minus 2. And the remaining locations of the array, so that is having index 3 or 4. It is indicated as num of 3 and num of 4. So these two does not hold any value. They are not storing any value. So only 3 values have been stored here. But maximum we can store 5. But we can utilize less than 5 also. In this particular example, we are utilizing only 3 array locations out of 5. Now let us move on to what are the different types of arrays. So basically there are 3 different types of arrays, but for your syllabus only there will be 2 types. The first one is one-dimensional array. Second one is two-dimensional array, that is also called as matrix. And third one is multi-dimensional array. So even the two-dimensional array can be called as multi-dimensional array. Now let us begin with one-dimensional array. So that is also called as single-dimensional array. It is also known as 1D array. 1 stands for single, D stands for dimensional array. So these arrays will be having only one dimension. We shall discuss what is single-dimensional array now. So one-dimensional array or single-dimensional array is used to store a linear list of values of the same data type. So the values that we store in the array, it will be in the linear fashion. The elements are stored sequentially one after another in the linear fashion within the array. Hence it is called as single-dimensional array or one-dimensional array. The elements in one-dimensional array are stored with the index value starting from 0. And the last index that we already learned that it will be 1 less than size of the array. Each element in an array can be accessed using array name, and within the bracket we can make use of array index or subscript. The syntax of accessing single dimensional array element is array name within the square bracket index. We have to take the index. So one dimensional array can be viewed like this. It is similar to a row of matrix. If you take the matrix, it will look like a table having rows and columns. A single dimensional array is indicating a particular row or column of the matrix. It is not representing a complete matrix. It is representing either a single row or a single column. Now let us see how to declare one dimensional array. So that is the declaration of single dimensional arrays. To declare single dimensional arrays, so there is a syntax we need to follow. The syntax is very simple. If you look at the syntax, it will begin with the data type. So data type can be anything like int, float, char, double. So data type can be anything. So it depends on which type of value you want to store in the array. So depending upon that, we need to decide about the data type that you want to use here. So the data type is followed by array name. So that we already discussed. Array name is basically any value identifier we can use here. And within the bracket, we can mention the array size. And it ends with semicolon. So let us understand what is array size. Array size basically indicates how many elements you want to store in the array. The maximum elements we can store in the array. So that is indicated by array size. So the number of elements we can store in the array, it should be less than or equal to array size. Even you can store elements less than the size mentioned here, but it should not exceed the number of elements in the array should not exceed the size of the array. For example, let us take data type as int here and array name as age and array size as 5. And what this statement indicates? So this statement basically called as array declaration statement, single dimensional array declaration statement. To declare single dimensional array, so this particular syntax is followed here. So the data type int indicates that in this particular array we can store integer type elements. Integer values we can keep in this particular array. And what is array name? Array name is taken as age. And what is array size? Array size is 5. It means so this statement is declaring an array with the name age and it is having size of 5. It means in this array we can store maximum 5 elements. Less than or equal to 5 elements we can store in this particular array. And the data type of the array is taken as int. It means in this particular array we can store integer type elements. All the elements of the integer type. All the elements that we store in this array should be having the same type, that is integer. Now, if you declare an array, how much amount of memory will be required? To calculate the total amount of memory allocated, there is a formula here. So, the total amount of memory allocated to an array is equal to size of the array, it is array size into size of the data type. We already learned that size of the data type basically depends on the operating system. If the operating system is 16-bit, the size of integer type will be 2 bytes. If the operating system is 32-bit, the size of integer type will be 4 bytes. Let us assume that the operating system we are using is 32-bit operating system. In this case, the size of integer type will be 4 bytes. For the declaration of int age at 5, let us see what is the total memory required. The total amount of memory required for this particular array declaration is array size. What is array size? It is 5 and the size of the data type here is 4 bytes. So it will be 5 into 4. The total amount of memory required for this particular array is 20 bytes. Now let us see how this array can be indicated. So there will be 5 array locations, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We know that these array locations are indicated through index value. So this particular first array location having index 0, the second array location having index 1, third array location having index 2, fourth array location having index 3, and the last array location having index 4. So index value will be starting from 0 and it is ending at 4. So the last index will be array size minus 1. Array size is 5. 5 minus 1 it will be 4. And the element of this array can be accessed using this particular syntax. That is array name. Array name is age here, and within the brackets we will have to use the index. For the first element of the array, index is 0. It will be age of 0. For the second element, it will be age of 1. For the third element, age of 2. Next element, age of 3. Last element, age of 4. Let us see few more examples of array declaration. The first one, int marks of 100. So the data type is int here, array name is marks, and within the brackets, square brackets, I have taken array size as 100. So this statement is going to declare or create a new array having array name as marks. Data type of the array is int here, and array size is 100. So this statement is going to create an array called marks with the size as 100. So in this particular array we can store maximum 100 integer typed elements because the data type is int here. Second one, so this time we are creating an array of the type float. The data type is float here, array name is prices, the size equal to 100. So this statement is going to create an array of size 100 where you can store floating point elements or numbers. The third one is creating an array of characters. Since the data type is char here, array name is name and array size is 1000. So in this array we can store 100 characters at most. The next one, the data type is double, array name is ARR and array size is 100. In this array we can store maximum 100 elements of the double type. The last one, int myArray, the size is 50. In this array we can store maximum 50 integer typed elements since the data type is int here. Now let us see how to initialize one dimensional array. Once you declare single dimensional array, now how to initialize the array? It is basically how to store the elements into the array that you have to understand. The values can be stored in an array using these 4 different methods. So there are 4 different ways to store the elements within the array. First one, initializing all specified memory location. So it will be done at the time of compile time. It is called as compile time initialization. Second one, initializing individual elements. It is also done at the compile time. It is called as compile time initialization. Third one, partial array initialization. Fourth one, initialization during program execution. At the time of program execution, array elements are initialized or array elements are stored. It is called as runtime initialization. Above 3 are basically compile time initialization where elements are stored, array elements are stored at the compilation time, during compilation. But the last one, array elements are initialized during program execution, is called as runtime initialization. So let us begin with the first one, initializing all specified memory locations. The syntax to initialize all the elements of one dimensional array at the same time is like this: data type, array name, within the square bracket you have to take the array size equal to, and within a pair of curly braces we have to provide the set of values. It is basically something like set of values. The values are indicated as v1, v2, v3, and it should end with semicolon. So the data type can be anything like int, float, char, double. It depends on which type of element you want to store in the array. The second one, array name, it is any valid identifier, then followed by array size must be taken into square bracket. Array size is basically how many elements you want to store in the array, how many maximum elements you want to keep in the array. So depending upon that we need to decide about array size. So that is equal to, so which are the elements you want to store, so which are the elements you want to initialize, so that must be taken into, so this particular a pair of curly braces. Okay, so with this particular syntax, a new array is declared or created, so that is initialized to these values by default at the compilation time itself. So at the same time, all the array elements can be initialized here. Let us take an example here. The example is like this: int. Data type is int here. Array name is taken as age and array size is taken as 5 is equal to the values you want to store here is which is taken into pair of curly braces, that is 2, 4, 34, 3 and 4. A set of values that you want to initialize must be separated by comma here. So this statement is creating an integer type array and array name is age, array size is 5. Since array size is 5, the array index will be starting from 0, last index will be array size minus 1 here. Array size is 5, 5 minus 1 it will be 4. And by default, this array locations are initialized to the values here. So what is the first value in the set here? So that is 2. So where it will be stored? So the first element in this list will be stored at the first location of the array. The first location is indicated at the index 0. Now it is age of 0. The second element is 4 here. There is a mistake. So you take it as 4. So it will be stored at location age of 1. The next element 34, where it will be stored? It will be the third element of the array. It will be stored at index 2. It is indicated as age of 2. The next element is 3. It will be stored at location 4, array location 4. So it is having index 3. It is indicated as age of 3. The last element from the set, that is 4, it will be stored at last location having index 4 and it is indicated as age of 4. So like this array can be initialized. Now let us move on to the second method here, initializing individual elements. Individual array elements can be initialized one by one. The syntax of initializing an individual element of one-dimensional array is given like this. It is basically array name and within the bracket we take the index that is equal to value. So here we are taking one example. So that is array declaration statement here. The data type is int, array name is age, the size of the array is taken as 5. So this statement is going to declare or create a new array with the name age having size 5. In this array we can store maximum 5 elements. Now let us see how we can initialize an individual element of the array with the help of this particular syntax. The syntax is array name. In this case array name is age and within the bracket we should take the index. For the first element, for the first array element the index is 0. So it will be age of 0 is equal to, you want to store which value? 2. The value stored in array age at index 0 at position 0. So similarly the remaining elements can be stored here. So it is indicated like this. At age of 0 you are storing 2. Age of 1 you are storing 4. It is 4 here. Let us make it 4. And at age of 2 we are storing 34. See. At age of 3 we are storing 3. At age of 4 we are storing 4. Individually we can initialize the elements. Next one, partial array initialization. So here it is not necessary that all the elements of the array must be initialized. So partially we can do the array initialization. Let us take the example. Int age of 5. So this statement is creating an array with the name age having size of 5, but it is initialized with only 2 elements. So there is a set of elements having only 2 elements. So the first element here is 2. It will be stored at first location of the array having index 0, that is age of 0. The second element, that is 3, will be stored at second location of the array having index 1. It is indicated as the age of 1. Still 3 more locations are left here. They are initialized to 0 by default by the compiler. So partially we are making the initialization at the beginning during declaration itself. that is 2 and 3 will be stored at first 2 locations. Still 3 more locations are left here. They are initialized to 0 by default. So this is called as partial array initialization. The last method is initialization of the array during program execution is called as runtime array initialization. Let us take one example here. In age of 5, the statement is creating an array with the name age having size of 5. In this array we can store integer type elements. Now, so dynamically during execution of the program, let us see how to store the elements. So there is a for loop taken here. In this particular for loop, we are starting at index variable I is equal to 0. So there is a variable taken here that is initialized to 0. You know that in the syntax of for loop, there are 3 parts. The first part is initialization. So here I is initialized to 0. Why is initialized to 0? Because in the array index will start from 0. Array's first location having index 0. Semicolon. The second part is array condition. So what will be the last index here? The last index is array size minus 1. We have to repeat up to array size minus 1. In this case, array size is 5. The last index will be 4. So the I value will be starting from 0 and we'll have to repeat up to I is equal to 4. The value of I will be ranging from 0 to 4. Since array index will start at 0, the last index will be 4. So the condition here is taken as less than 5. As long as I is less than 5, so that is from 0 to 4, the condition is going to be true. And third part of the for loop is I plus plus, incrementing I by 1 for the next array index. And we store the elements like this. So that is age of I is equal to I plus 1. We are storing the value I plus 1 at the array location I. So I is the index. At the index I, we are storing the element I plus 1. So let us understand this particular concept here. You know that for loop will begin with I is equal to 0. The value of I will be initialized to 0. It will be executed only once. Semicolon. After that, the for loop condition will be tested here. Let us substitute 0. Is 0 less than 5? Condition is true or false? Condition is true. If it is true, so this statement will be executed here. Let us substitute I. What is I? I will be 0. It will become A of 0. So that is, age of 0. So like this, age of 0 is initialized to what? I plus 1. What is I? I is equal to 0. 0 plus 1, it will be 1. So at the first location, at index 0, the value stored here is 1. So that is age of 0 is equal to 1. After that, we go for I plus plus. What is I plus plus? I will become 1. After incrementing, it will become 1. Come here and test the condition once again. Let us substitute I, that is 1. Is 1 less than 5? True. Since the condition is true, if you execute this particular statement, it will become like age of 2. Age of. So after incrementing I became 1 here, not 2. So 1 is less than 5. True. Come here. Age of I, that is age of 1 is equal to I plus 1. What is I plus 1? I is 1. 1 plus 1, it will become 2. Come here. Increment I by 1. I is 1. It will be incremented by 1. It will become 2. Test the condition. Is 2 less than 5? True. Then age of 2 is equal to I plus 1. It will be 3. I plus plus. It will become 3 now. Is 3 less than 5? True. Then age of 3 is equal to 3 plus 1 will be 4. I plus plus. I becomes 4. 4 is less than 5. True. Then age of 4 is equal to I plus 1 will be 5. I plus plus. So I becomes 5 now. Is 5 less than 5? No, condition is false and the loop terminates. So like this, array elements are dynamically initialized during program execution. Now let us see how to read array elements using scanner. How to display the array elements. Let us take one example here. Let us declare an array that is int age of 5. We are creating an array with the name age. size equal to 5, array size equal to 5. In this array we can store maximum 5 elements. The data type of the array is integer, int. So in this array we can store integer type elements. Now let us see how to read array elements using scan. So we have to take a for loop, and you have to initialize I equal to 0 because array index will start at 0, and you have to repeat up to the last array index, that is up to 4. The condition must be I less than or equal to 5. Sorry, I less than 5 and I plus plus. So as long as this condition is true, this scanf is going to be repeatedly executed. You know that scanf is having two parameters. The first parameter is control character %d for integer. The second one is address of the variable. So the array variable is age here, that is the ampersand age of I. I is the index here. So here I will start from 0. So initially 0 is less than 5, it will be true. You are reading a value for age of I. If you substitute I here, it will be 0, it will be age of 0. Whatever the value we enter here, it will be stored at 0. And after that we go for I plus plus. I will become 1. Is 1 less than 5? After substituting I here, it is true. The second time the scanf will be executing, so it will be reading age of 1 here. So whatever the value we enter here, it will be stored at age of 1. So like this. So this loop is going to be repeated how many times? 5 times. The scanf is executing 5 times, and we are entering 5 values. So it will be stored at array locations ranging from age of 0 to age of 4. Now let us see how to display the array elements on the screen. So that is called as array writing. Again we have to take a for loop. We have to begin with I equal to 0, and condition is I less than 5, repeat up to I is equal to 4, I plus plus. Repeatedly execute printf to print their elements. The printf is like this. Placeholder you are taking %d for integer, comma. The second one is age of 5. You want to display the value of age of 5, where I will be ranging from 0 to 4. So repeatedly this printf is going to be executed for all the array elements. For example, initially I will be 0. Is 0 less than 5? True. Come here, execute printf. So it will be displaying array element at I. Since I is 0, it will be age of 0. The first element of the array will be age of 0. That will be substituted here, and this printf will screen. Similarly, we go for incrementing I, and remaining elements will be printed. Now let us take a few programs in arrays. The first program is used to read and display one-dimensional array elements. So in this particular program, we want to declare an array, and we want to read the elements. This means array elements we need to store, and after that we need to display the array elements. So this is a very simple program. So this program begins with hash include std io.h, and after that void main. So this main function is not returning any value because the return type is void here. So the main function is going to begin here and is going to end over here. And inside the main function at the beginning, we have to make the array declaration and all the variable declarations. We already studied the syntax of array declaration. The array declaration syntax is data type, array name, within the brackets we have to take the array size. In this particular program, we have taken data type as int here, because in this particular array you want to store integer type elements. Array name can be any valid identifier we can use here. The array name we have taken here is ARR. So that is the array name. We can take any name here, it's not necessarily this one. Any valid name can be taken here. And after that we have to mention the size. The array size here is 10, so that is taken into the square brackets. So in this array we can store maximum 10 elements. Less or equal to 10 elements we can store here. And you know that in the array there will be something called array index. So that is used to identify the position of the elements in the array. The array index will start from 0. The last index of this particular array will be the size minus 1. The size of this array is 10 minus 1, it will be 9. The starting index of the array is 0 and last index will be 9. The next one is the size variable, and the index variable we can take it as 5. And it ends with semicolon. The next statement is printf, where it will display a message on the screen that is enter array size. So here we need to enter how many elements you want to store in the array. So here the array size will be less or equal to 10. We can store maximum 10 elements, at most 10 elements. The number of elements we can keep in this array will be less than or equal to 10. Hence the array size that we enter here should be less than or equal to size. So for that purpose we are using scanf. The control character for scanf is %d, because for integers the control character we use here is %d, comma, ampersand array name size. So this statement is going to read an integer value, so that will be the array size and it will be stored into the variable size. Next, printf, so that is used to display message on the screen. So at the beginning we have taken new line, that is /n. The message here is enter array elements, so that will appear on the screen. For example, here we have entered array size is 5. Next, so we need to enter the array elements. The message we got here is enter array elements, and after that we are supposed to read the array elements. To read the array elements, the logic we already learned. So we need to take a for loop, and for loop is having 3 parts. The first part is initialization, second part is condition, third part is loop operation. Here the initialization is we are initializing I equal to 0 because I is taken as the index variable. We learned that the array index will start at 0. The condition is I less than size. Here the number of elements we have taken is size. In this example it is 5. It means array index will start from 0. The last index will be size minus 1. So the condition is I less than size here. So it is going to put up to size minus 1. I less than size. So whenever size is equal to 5, the last value for I will be 4 here. So the I will be ranging from 0 to 4. Since the array index will start from 0, the last index will be 4 whenever size is equal to. And next we have I++. This for loop is beginning here, it is ending here, and it is having a scanf statement which is used to read array element. So the control character is %d because we want to read or enter integer value, because array type is integer. In this array we can store integer typed elements. Hence control character is %d, comma. At the top that is ampersand, we should take array of I. Array with the subscript I. I is the array index, which is starting from 0 and repeating up to 4. So initially we will begin with I equal to 0, and we test the condition. Size is 5, I is 0, 0 is less than 5, condition is true, and we enter into the for loop and we execute the scanf. It will ask us to enter a value. So if you enter array element as 10, where it will be stored? It will be stored at array of I. Since I is 0, the element will be stored at array location array of 0. It means the first element will be stored at index 0, and after that we go for incrementing I by 1. It will be I++. So I was 0. After incrementing I by 1, it became 1 here, and we come here and test the condition. Substitute I, that is 1, is 1 less than size, that is 5, true. The condition is true, and we enter into here and we read one more element for array of I. Since I is 1 here, so whatever element we enter, for example the second element we enter here is 20, it will be stored at array of 1. So that is the second element whose index is 1. And after that I++, I will become 2, and test the condition. 2 less than 5, true. Scanf will be executing once again, and you are reading element for array of I, that is array of 3, array of 2. So in this case, suppose that if you enter 30, it will be stored at array of 2. So that will be the third element. And after that we go for increment I plus plus. So this time I will become 3. Test the condition. Is 3 less than 5? True. From here, scanner read element for array of 3 since I is equal to 3. If you enter 40 here, it will be stored at array of 3, that is fourth element, but whose index is 3. And I plus plus, A will become 4. Test the condition. Is I less than size? I is 4. 4 is less than size, that is 5. Condition is true. Enter here and execute the scanner. And we read element for the allocation array of 4 because I is equal to 4. If you enter 50, it will be stored at array of 4. Index is 4, but it is fifth element. And after that, we go for I plus plus, and after incrementing 5, it will become 5. Somewhere and test a condition. I is 5, size is 5. Is I less than size? No. 5 is not less than 5. Condition is false, and this for loop terminates. So here you could enter array elements as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Total 5 elements have been entered because we have taken array size as 5. And after that, we have to display the arguments. Again, there is a printf taken here. Array elements are this message we display. In front of that, we have to display the elements. Again, we take a for loop and we start from I is equal to 0 because array index will start at 0. Condition is I less than size. We have to repeat up to size minus 1. So in this example, size is 5. So this I will be ranging from 0 to size minus 1, that is up to 4. 4 is the last index of the array. Then loop operation is I plus plus. And as long as this condition is true, we will be executing this printf repeatedly. We will begin with I equal to 0. Let us substitute I here. 0. What is size? 5. 0 less than 5. Condition is true. And body of the loop will be executing. It is having a printf. So it is going to print the element array of I is 0, array of 0. An element from array index 0 will be printed. That is the first element of the array is printed 10. And after that we go for I plus plus. I will become 1 now. Again we test the condition 1 less than size, that is 5, true. And we execute printf once again and we print an element from array of 1. So that is 20. So similarly the remaining elements of the array will be 20. That is 30, 40 and 50. Now let us run this program and check the program execution and its output. I'll come to online JDB. The program already saved here. So let me run the program and let us check the output over here. I click this run. The program is being compiled. Now, so this statement we got here, enter array size. Now the scanf is being executed. It is asking us to enter array size here. If I enter 5, array size is 5, then it will ask us to enter array elements. How many elements? Total 5 elements we need to enter here. The first element will be 10. After that, I'll give one space here. The second element 20. Give space 30. Give space 40. Last element 50. So these are the elements we have entered for the array. And after that, we got output as the array elements are 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. So this program is able to read array elements and display. Now let us see how this program can be executed step by step to understand the flow of the execution. So I'll go for debug. So we need to put a breakpoint here. I'm going to put a breakpoint at this particular point. And let us go with step by step execution. I'll click on start here. Now the program is stopped at this particular line. I will execute the printf. So that is displaying a message on the screen like enter array size. And after that, the scanf is executing. So we can check the values of these variables array. So this is array. Here we can find 10 elements. So these are our garbage values. Since we are not storing the elements yet in the array, So the array is going to hold some garbage or unwanted value, and size it is also holding some garbage value, and I is 0. So parallelly we can look for this particular values of the variables. Now the program is asking us to enter the size. I'll enter it as 5, then press enter key. Now look at the value of size, it became 5. The next statement is enter array elements. It will be executing, and after that there is a for loop. So as you know that I will start from 0. It will test the condition. If the condition is true, this scanf is going to be executed. So we have to refill execute this scanf 5 times, because we have taken size equal to 5, and each time it is going to read element at array of I. So the first iteration is I equal to 0, 0 less than size, that is 5, condition is true, it is going to enter here. So step over, it is going to enter here. So this scanf is going to read a number, array number or array element. Here it is asking us to enter value. If I enter 10, now you see where actually it will be stored in the array. Now that element is stored here. So this is the first element of the array, and I got incremented by, it will be incremented 1 here, and after that 1 will be less than size, that is 5, it is true. See, I became 1, 1 is less than 5, it is true, and again the scanf is executing, which is going to read a number. It will ask us to enter a number. So we are supposed to enter number here. For example, if I enter 20, now see the second element of the array became 20, and again the for loop is repeating here. In this case the I gets incremented by 1, I will become 2, 2 is less than 5, condition is true, it will enter. Now I became 2 here. See, again it is going to read an element. So this time I'll enter the next element as 30. Now look at this, the third element of the array is 30, but its index value will be 2. Now let us continue. So still condition is true, I is 3 here, 3 is less than 5, true, reading one more element. So this time I'll enter 40. See, the 40 is stored over here. So that is the fourth element whose index is 3. Now again the loop is going to be repeated. I is 4, 4 is less than 5, condition is true. So we have entered into the loop here. The scanf is executing once again, and it is asking us to enter a value. So we need to enter a value. So this time, so the fifth element we have stored here is 50. Now the condition becomes false after incrementing I. I is 4, and after increment to become 5. 5 is not less than 5. This condition is false. This is false. Now it will come out of the loop. So if you look at the array, we have stored 5 elements, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and the remaining elements, remaining locations of the array, it is still holding the garbage value, because out of 10 we are utilizing only 5 array locations. The remaining locations are being not utilized, but still they are holding some garbage value, because we have taken only array size as 5. Okay, let me restart this. There is something went wrong. So I'll put a breakpoint here, because until this we already pressed it. It is asking us to enter size. I'll stop this and re-execute. We'll just put a breakpoint here. You can start. The array size, the enter is 5. It is asking us to enter element. the program is stopped here. Let us continue the step by step execution. Printf is executed. Now again there is a for loop starting from I equal to 0, I less than inside I plus plus. It is same as above, but this time we are executing printf to print the array elements. So all these array elements will be printed. So parallel we can observe the values of the variables. I starting from 0, condition is true. It will print element that is 10 is printed. Second element 20 will be printed now. Third element 30 is printed and I is 2. Fourth element 40 will be printed. Next fifth element 50 will be printed. And the condition becomes false here after implementing either 180 come out of the loop and program execution completes. Let us come back here and go to next program. The next program is write a program to find out the largest element in an array of a given size. So in this particular problem, we will have to take an array with some elements. In that array, we will have to find out the largest element. Array is the largest element we have to find out. Let us see how to do it. As usual, we will begin with hash include stdio.h. Next is void main. Let us have the array declaration. Data type is int, array name is arr, size is 10. So this statement is declaring an array called arr with a size of 10. Here we can store integer type elements because the array type is int here. The remaining variables are I. So that this is index variable. N is indicating the size, how many elements you want to store in the array. It is indicated by n. And there is some temporary variable taken that will initialize to 0. Initially temp will be 0. And after that, printf we are having, it is displaying a message for the user on the screen. That is enter the size of the array. And we will be reading the size of the array using scanf. So percentage d is a control character and ampersand n here. So the size of the array will be stored into n. In this case, in the output you can see that the array size is entered as 5. Printf enter the elements of the array. So we will have to read the array elements. How many elements we have to read here? Total 5 elements we have to read because we have taken array size as 5. So for that purpose, we use a for loop here. We start from I equal to 0 because array index will start from 0 and I less than 10. That is the condition. We have to repeat up to the condition I less than n. So the range of value for I is equal to 0 to n minus 1. So in this example, n is 5. So the last index will be 4 here. So the value of I will be ranging from 0 to 4. This is updation I plus plus. And repeatedly we execute the scanf to read the element for array of I. So initially I will be 0, 0 is less than 5 to scanf is executed. If you enter element as 10 here, it will be stored at array of I that is 0. The first element we enter here is 10 and I plus plus I became 1, 1 less than 5, true, and execute scanf once again to read the second element of the array. So if you enter 20, it will be stored at array of 1. So similarly read the remaining elements. So the elements entered here is 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. Total 5 elements we have entered. The next part is we will have to find out the largest element of the array. Initially we have initialized temp equal to 0. It means that let us assume that the largest element is 0 initially. And after that, we will have to take a for loop here, where we will have to begin with I is equal to 0 and I less than n, I plus plus. So again this is for array index from 0 to n minus 1. In this example it is up to 4. So this is updation and this for loop is starting here, it is ending to called as body of the for loop. It is going to be repeatedly executing n number of times from 0 to n minus 1. And in this particular body, you will have to find out the largest array element. So the logic is very simple. If ith element of the array of I is what? ith element, that is array element at index I, if it is greater than temp, then we will take temp is equal to array of I. The largest element will become here the array of I, and repeat this for all the elements of the array. So we'll begin with I equal to 0. So let us check the condition. Is 0 less than 5? True. Condition is true here, and we enter into the for loop. And let us look at whether array of I is greater than or equal to temp. There is if statement here with the condition array of I greater than temp. Let us check this. What is array of I? I is 0. The array of 0 will be 10 here. So let us substitute 10 here. This is 10. And temp is taken as 0. Is array of I greater than temp? Array of I is 10. 10 is greater than temp, that is 0. Condition is true here. And we enter into the body of the statement, and we'll make the array of I itself as the largest element, which is assigned to temp here. The array of 0 is 10. Now temp is equal to 10 here, and we go for I plus plus. I will become 1. Check the condition. Is 1 less than 5? True. Come here. Then we take array of I. I is 1, it will be array of 1. Array of 1 is this one, 20. Let us substitute 20 here. And what is temp here? Temp was 10. Is 20 greater than 10 here? True. Condition is true, and we come here and we make temp is equal to array of I, that is array of 1. So at this time temp became 20. The largest element till now is 20. We come here I plus plus. I will become 2 now. And check the condition. Is 2 less than 5? True. Condition is true, and we come here and test this condition again in the array of I, that is array of 2, it will be 30. 30 is 30 greater than temp, that is 20. True. And make temp is equal to array of I, that is 30. I is the 2 here, array of 2 will be 30. The next one will go for I plus plus, and I will become 3 here. Is 3 less than 4? Condition is true. Sorry, 5. Condition is true. Come here. An array of 3. It is 40. 40 greater than temp, that is 30. True. Then will temp will become array of I, that is 40. I plus plus. I will become 4 now. Is 4 less than n, that is 5. True. Come here. Then array of I. What is array of I? I is 4. The last element of the array is 50 here. That is array of 4. Is array of I greater than temp, that is 40. True. And net temp is equal to array of I. We get temp is equal to array of 4, that is 50. And we come here, we make I plus plus. I will become 5. That's a condition. Let us substitute I here. 5. N is 5. Is I less than n? 5 less than 5. Condition is false. This follow terminates. The largest element we got here is temp is equal to 50. Let us print it. For that purpose, this printf is used. The largest element in the array is, there is a placeholder %n, %d followed by a new line. Then here you want to substitute temp here. So at this point temp is equal to 50. The 50 will be substituted here. In the output we get the largest element in the array is 50. Now let us run this program and check the output. So I will comment this particular program here. If you do a comment here, it changes, I will save it first. And let us run the program and check the output here. It is asking us to enter array size. Let us take it as 5. Then the array elements, you can enter any elements. I'll enter 10, 20, 50, 45. Any 5 elements you can enter. 34. So the largest element in the array we got it as 50 here. So that is the output we got here. Now let us refresh this and go to debug and put the breakpoint here at line number 6. Click on debug. Let us execute the program step by step. Let us start the execution here. When the execution is stopped here, let us go with the step by step execution, and parallelly we can look for the values of array I, n, 10. Now scanf is executing here. It will ask us to enter array size. So I enter array size as 5. Now look at n here. What is n? N became 5. Now we have to read the array limits. So for loop is going to be executed where I is initialized to 0 and n is 5. And after the testing condition, the scanf is executing here. So we'll go on reading the elements as we did in the previous program. We'll enter first element as 10. So it will be stored here. And the for loop is executing second time where it will be the second element 20. I became 2. Now third time the scanf is executing reading third element. So this time I'll enter 50. The third element here is 50. These are the first elements. Then step here I became 3. So condition is to scanf is executing once again. It is asking us to enter a value. So this time I'll enter text 25. So you can see 4 elements were able to enter here. So one more time the scanf will be executing here. Now I'll enter the element as 23. The fifth element is 23. Now the for loop terminates because the condition becomes false here. Now let us see how it will find out the largest element. So we'll begin with again I is equal to 0. Condition is true here because the 0 is less than 5, that is n. Let's check array of 5. Array of 5 is what? Array of 5 is 10 here. This one we can check the value here. Array of 5. Okay, it is 10 here. Array of 5 is 10. So condition is true here. Temp was 0. Okay. Array of 5, that is array of 0. The first element 10 is greater than 10. The condition is true here. So the temp becomes array of 5, that is array of 0. So we got temp is equal to 10 here. In the second iteration of the for loop, I becomes 1 now after increment. 1 is less than 5, it is true. Now we will take array of 5. What is array of 5 here? It is 20. The second element is 20. Now let us check the condition. Array of 5 is 20. Temp is 10. Is 20 greater than 10? That is 10 true. Okay, then 10 becomes array of 5, that is 20. Let's see. And after that, in the third iteration, I became 2 less than 5, 2, and the array of 5, array of 2 here. Array of 2 is 15. See, you can take it as 15 here. Let us substitute 15. 10 is 20. Condition is true or false? Condition is false because 15 is not greater than 10, that is 20. So condition is false here. We don't execute this particular statement. Let's go on to next one. Step 4. I become 3 less than 5. Condition is true. Now check array of 5, that is array of 3. The next element of the array is 25. The array of 5 is 25. Let us substitute 25 here. 10. What is 10? 20. Condition is true or false? Yes. Condition is true because 25 is greater than 10. It will enter here. It will make 10 is equal to array of 5. That is 25. We will assign to 10 now. And go on to next iteration. I is incremented 4. 4 is less than 5. This condition is still true. So we are entering here. Now we'll take the array of I. I is 4. What is the array of 5? It will be array of 4, that is 23. We got it as 23. Let us test the condition. Array of 5, that is 23, temp is 25. Is 23 greater than 25? False. This printf, but if this temp is equal to array of 5 is not executed, it's skip. We go to the next one. And after incrementing I, it will become 5. Condition is false, and it will come out of the for loop. Now it is going to print the value of temp. What is temp? It is 25. Due to the largest number is 3. The output we got here is the largest element in the array is 25. Similarly, we can modify this program to find out array is the smallest element. It is very simple. The same program we can modify to find out array is smallest element. So let us understand the program here. It's the same. Declaring array I n temp, enter the array size, read the array elements here using scanf and for loop. And here one modification we have done here. So in the previous program we took temp is equal to 0, but here I'll take temp is equal to array of 0. So I'm using some different logic here. Find out array smallest element. We take temp is equal to array of 0. Let's assume that initially the first element of the array is largest element, that is assigned to temp. Let us compare temp with remaining elements of the array. So the remaining elements here, the array index will start from 1 because the array of 0 is already taken here. The next element we need to compare. The next index is 1 here. So in this particular for loop we have to begin with index value I is equal to 1 and we test the condition. If the condition is true and we enter here and there is a if statement having condition array of I less than 10. If ith element of the array is less than 10, then we make temp is equal to array of 5 because we are finding the smallest element, so we are checking for less than. So if ith element is less than 10, temp is equal to array of 5, and finally we print it as smallest element is equal to %d comma 10. So little bit we have modified the same program to find out the smallest element. Now let us run the program to check the results. Let us enter array size as 5. I'll take smallest element. I'll enter the array elements now, like 10, 23, 5, 15. Any 5 elements we can enter here, 35. So 5 elements were entered here. The output we got here is the smallest element in the array is 5. So that is the result we got here. It's the same program written here. Now let us move on to the next program. Write a program to find the first occurrence of a given number in an array of given size. So what do you mean the first occurrence? So here we need to print the first occurrence of the array element, so that is the position of the first occurrence of the array element we need to print here. So it is something like searching for an element. If that element is found, we need to print its first occurrence position. Occurrence means it is basically appearance. When we scan the array from left to right, if the element is found and its first occurrence or first appearance from left to right, you should consider and you should take its position and you should print it. So it is a very simple program. So as usual, include stdio.h void main array declaration. We are declaring an array of size 10 and whose type is integer. I is the index variable. N is used to indicate array size, the number of elements we want to store in. N S is the element to be searched. We are searching for the first occurrence of the element, so that will be stored into S. Enter the size of the array. I'll be reading value for the variable n here. For example, if you enter size equal to 5, it will become n is equal to 5. Printf enter the elements of the array. So this is the message we got here. And after that there's a new line. Then so we are going to the next line here. For I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. So we have to execute scanf to read the element. So since n is 5, so this loop is going to be repeated 5 times for I equal to 0 to 4. So like this we enter the elements 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 as we did with earlier programs. Printf enter the element to be searched, we have to display message enter the element to be searched, then you have to read that element. So scanf %st comma %s, you are reading value for s, that is the element to be searched. For example, if you enter 30, you are searching for the element 30. It means it is going to search the element 30 in the array and we have print the position of element 30, the first occurrence position. The 30 element which is appearing first while scanning it from left to right, and we should take its position. The logic is very simple. Again, we have to scan through all the elements of the array. So as usual, we will take a for loop as we did in the earlier program. We start with I is equal to 0, condition is I less than n, I plus plus. So this loop is going to be repeated for all the elements of the array. Now inside this loop, we have each statement where we are actually comparing array of ith element of the array is compared with, yes, we have taken equality here. So because we want to compare ith element of array with yes. If that element is found, if the condition is true here, it means the element s will be present here in the ith location of the array. If this condition is true, we enter here and execute printf. The first occurrence of %d is the placeholder. In that position, we have print the position %d. So here we should place yes here, that is the element to be searched. In this case it is 30. The statement becomes like the first occurrence of 30 is that position. So actually the I is keeping track of the array index, but we have to print the position. Position of the element in the array will be 1 more than index because array index will be starting at 0. The first element index is 0, but its position is 1. So to print the position, it is always I plus 1 here. So it is index I plus 1. So in this particular example, the element 30 is present at this position. So index is 0, 1, 2. That is present at index 2, but its position is 3. 2 plus 1 is 3. The output we get here is the first occurrence of 30 is at position 3. And after that, so this break statement will be executed. What is break does? So this break is going to terminate the loop. The for loop is going to be terminated. And if the element s is not found, if it is not present in the array, then we will not print it is not found. So we will scan through all the elements, and this condition becomes, it will be always false because the s is not present here. In this case, finally, whenever I reaches to n, so that is 5 in this case, whenever I reaches to n, I is equal to n, we say that the element s is not found here. In this case, it is going to print the element is not found in the array. So %d is the placeholder where we substitute s here, and we say it is not found in the given array. Now let us run the program and check it. I'll come here. I'll refresh the program first. I'll put comment for this particular program. So this is commented. I will remove the comments. Then this I'm going to save it here. First, let me run the program and check the output. It is being compiled and it is started executing now. It is asking now to enter array size. I'll enter it as 5. Enter the elements of the array. So let us enter these elements 10, 20. Any 5 elements can be entered. 40. Then element to be searched, so I'll enter it as 40. So the element 40 is present at what position? 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth position. The output we get here is the first occurrence of 40 is at position 4. So let us run the program once again. It will be compiled. So compilation is taking more time. I will go for reflection. Let's run the program. Array size 5. Elements that are centered as 10, 20, 30, 40, then 50. Suppose that the element to be searched if under 60. Whether the 60 is present or not, the 60 is not present, there is no question of bringing it first occurrence because the element 60 is not at all present. The output we got here 60 not found in the given array. Let us rerun the program. Let us check one more time. I'll enter array size is 5. Array elements 10, 20, 30, 20, 40, 50. Sorry, 40. Only 5 elements. So the elements are 10, 20, 30, 20, 40. Next one, enter the element to be searched. I will give it as 20. So look at the array elements. There are two values of 20 present here. This is first one, this is second one. So this program is going to check for the first occurrence of this value. What is the first occurrence of 20 here? This one. And what is the position? Its index is 1, position will be 2. 1, 2. Let us check it. The output we got here is the first occurrence of 20 is at position 2. So we consider the first occurrence. So this element is at position 4, but the first occurrence of the element 20 is 2. So that is what we got here. To understand the flow of execution, I will replace the program. Let us put a breakpoint here at line number 6. Right click on debug, compiling, then click on start. The execution is stopped here. Parallel we can look for the array I, N, S. So these are the garbage values assigned initially for these variables. Step over. Next, the scanf is being executed. So that is asking us to enter value. So this time I'll take array size as 3. So n becomes 3 here. In the array we can enter 3 elements. So the next part is reading array elements. So there is a for loop. It is going to repeat 3 times. So initial I is 0. 0 is less than n, that is 3. So array of I is the value is read for array of I. Step 4 is asking us to enter the value. I'll enter it as 10. See, the first element here stored is 10. I plus plus. I'll become 1 now. 1 less than 3 through scanf is executing second time. It is asking us to enter a value again. So this time I'll enter it as 20. So the second element is 20. Step 4 I becomes 2 now. 2 less than 3. It is 2. Reading one more element. I'll enter 30. So the third element we got is 30. And again I will be incremented by 1. I'll become 2. Condition is false here. It will come out of the loop. Next one, enter the element to be searched. You are reading it using scanf here. So the element to be searched here is 30. And we'll have to print its first occurrence position. So next, there is a for loop where I will be set to 0 and condition is true here. I is 0, 0 is less than 3, that is the end, condition is true, and we are comparing this. Let us check the value of array of I. array of I is 10, 10 is not equal to yes, that is 30. So this is condition is false here. So it has gone to next iteration. If we increment I by 1, I became 1 now. 1 is less than 3. Condition is true. Condition is true. Again, we are comparing this. What is array of I? Array of I is 20. It is not equal to yes, that is 30. This condition is false. And this part will be skipped here. It has gone to next iteration. I is incremented by 1. I became 2. 2 less than 3. Condition is true here. It will enter into the for loop. What is array of I? Array of 2, 0, 1, 2 is 30. Array of I is got as 30. Is 30 matching with yes? True here. 30 matches with yes, that is 30. So this condition is true here. Then it is going to enter into the body of the if statement. Here it is going to print the first occurrence of percentage %d. Here it is going to substitute the value of first variable yes, yes is what 30. It will become like the first occurrence of 30 is at position. Will not print position here. Again there is a placeholder. We are actually substitute the value of I plus 1. What is I? I is equal to 2. That is the index value. But the position of the element is 1 more than index value. So it is taken as I plus 1. So the index value will be 3. Now let us see. So we got output as the first occurrence of 30 is at position 3. Now the break is what is executed. If you terminate the loop, where I is equal to n, I is 2, it is not equal to n. So the condition is false. It is going to come out. We must stop this. To the approach. We have to check for key not found case. People, just put a breakpoint. I'm going to put a breakpoint here till that the program is going to be executed. It is asking us to enter array size. I'll put as 3 for simplicity. Next, enter array elements 10, 20, and the third element is 30. Next, enter the element to be searched. So this time I'll enter it as 40. We are searching for 40. Now we go for step-by-step execution. Condition is true here in the for loop. Let us check the value of array of I. Condition is false here. Array of I is 10. That is not equal to yes, that is 40. I became 1. The next element of the array is 20. 20 is not equal to 40. This condition is false. It will go to next one. I is incrementing by 1. It is taken into condition is true. And array of I is 30. 30 is not equal to 40. Condition is false. It will go to next one. I is incrementing by 1. So the condition is false now because I is not less than n. This for loop terminates and we came off. There is one more condition. Check whether I is equal to n or not. I is 3, so that is equal to n. It indicates that the element 40 is not found. Now we execute this filter. Here we substitute yes here. Yes is what 40. 40 not found in the array, that is going to be printed here. The 40 is not found in the array. So that is the output we got here. Let us move on to the next program. So that is the last program. Write a program to find sum and average of the array elements. So in this particular program, we will find out summation of all the elements. Then we calculate the average. The average is basically summation divided by number of elements present in the array. So that is how we calculate sum and average of the array elements. So this will be a very simple program. So we'll begin with hash include std io.h void main array declaration int array of 10 index variable I n, and we take a variable constant that is initialized to 0, and average is a variable of the type float. Enter size of the array. Okay, we will be reading the size of the array, that is for n. So it will be 5. So n will become 5. Next one, printf enter the elements of the array. So we'll have to enter 5 elements because we have taken n equal to 5. So there is a for loop and scanf is going to execute it 5 times. The elements we have entered here is 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. And after that we'll have to calculate sum first. It is very simple. We'll start from I is equal to 0 because index file will be starting at 0. Condition is I less than n, I plus plus, and we'll execute repeatedly sum is equal to sum plus we have array of 5. So that is the current sum plus the array element will be added to sum here. And after that, after finding summation, we calculate average. Average equal to sum divided by the number of elements. The number of elements is 5. Here we got sum is equal to 150 and 150 divided by 5. To convert it to floating point, because average equal to floating point, we need to have the type custom. Type conversion we need to make here. Sum is integer, n is integer. If you divide an integer by integer, you will get answer as an integer, but we want the average in the float. Hence, the integer value we need to convert to float for that purpose. So this type conversion we are making here. So whatever the value we get here, it will be converted to float. That is essentially average. We got average equal to, actually we should get it as 30.000. So that is what printed here. Sum equal to percentage, where is substitute sum here, and the average equal to percentage here because it's a floating point. Where is substitute ft. Now let us see how to execute this particular program. I'll put a comment of the previous program and go to this particular program which is already commented. Open the comments. I'll save the program here. Directly I'll go to the table to understand the step-by-step execution. I'll put a breakpoint here. It is scanning. Keep on building. Then so we need to go for refreshing because server is not responding. I'll put a breakpoint at line number 8. Click on start. Here we can check the values of the array. The first step-by-step execution is asking us to enter array size. I'll take this 5. Next, as we did in the previous program, we go on reading the 5 array elements. The first element is 10. It is stored here. Next, second time, the second element, let's take it as 20. So this is 20 we got. The next one, the next element is, I'll enter it as 30. So 30 is stored here. The next element we read here is 40, that is fourth element. So we got 40 here. Next, one more time it will execute in fifth time. Here we will enter the element, that is 50, and all 5 elements we enter. So this for loop terminates. Now let us see how sum will be calculated. What is the initial sum? It is 0. Let us observe how the sum is going to be calculated. So let us begin with I equal to 0. 0 is less than n, that is 5. Condition is true. Okay, I is 0, 0 is less than 5, it is true. We will want to calculate sum. Sum is equal to sum plus array of 5. Sum is 0, 0 plus array of 5, I is 0. Okay, it will be array of 0. What is array of 0? That is the first element. Okay, it will be added to sum. We get sum is equal to 10 here. We got sum is equal to 10. So similarly, the second iteration, second element of the array, that is 20, whose index is 1, it will be added to sum, it will be 20 plus the current sum is 10 will become 30. Let's check it now, became 30 here. And the next iteration of for loop, we take third element whose index is 2, 30, that will be added to sum here, it will become 60. Check it. In the next iteration, I becomes 3. Next sum is equal to sum plus array of 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. The array of 3 is having 40. 40 will be added to 60. It will become 100. Now it became 100. One more time it will be executed. So this time I is equal to 4. Array of 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Array of 4 is 50. That is fifth element. Its index is 4. So 50 plus 100 we get 150. We got sum is equal to 150. And for loop terminates. Next we calculate average equal to sum divided by L. So we got average equal to 30. It will be printed here. Sum is equal to, we got 150 and average equal to 30.0000.